Hello there, fellow global citizens. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into the wacky world of tariffs. What exactly are they? Think of tariffs as a border tax on goods coming from other countries. They're like those pesky baggage fees at the airport, except instead of your luggage, it's everything from cars to cheese. Governments use tariffs for a whole bunch of reasons. Sometimes it's to protect their own industries, like shielding American-made washing machines from those seductive South Korean models. Other times, it's a bargaining chip in international negotiations, kind of like holding your breath until you get that extra scoop of ice cream. But here's the catch. Tariffs often lead to higher prices for consumers. Remember that fancy imported cheese you love? Yeah, that's about to get a whole lot more expensive, and nobody wants to pay more for cheese. Nobody. Now, let's talk about international trade, that intricate dance between countries where everyone tries to get the best deal. It's like a massive flea market, except instead of haggling over vintage lamps, it's cars, computers, and, well, cheese. When countries trade freely, everyone benefits. Consumers get more choices and often lower prices, while businesses can expand their markets and boost their profits. It's a win-win situation, like finding a $20 bill in your old jeans. But tariffs throw a wrench into this delicate dance. They make imported goods more expensive, which can hurt businesses that rely on those products and consumers who buy them. It's like suddenly having to pay extra for every step you take in that tango. Speaking of tariffs, remember our old friend Donald Trump? Well, he's back in the news, and this time he's brought tariffs along for the ride. The Donald has been slapping tariffs on goods from China, Mexico, Canada, you name it. It's like he's playing a high-stakes game of trade war and everyone's caught in the crossfire. Now, Trump claims these tariffs are necessary to protect American jobs and businesses. He argues that other countries are taking advantage of the US and tariffs are the only way to fight back. It's like saying you need to punch your neighbor in the face to protect your lawn gnome. But economists warn that these tariffs could actually harm the US economy. Higher prices for imported goods could lead to inflation, and retaliatory tariffs from other countries could hurt American businesses. It's a classic case of shooting yourself in the foot, except this time it's the entire country's foot. Let's take a closer look at how these tariffs are playing out in the real world, shall we? And what better place to start than with Canada, our friendly neighbors to the north, specifically their dairy industry. You see, Canada has these things called dairy tariffs, which are basically taxes on imported dairy products. These tariffs are designed to protect Canadian dairy farmers from foreign competition. It's like building a giant wall of cheese around the country to keep out all the other cheese. Now, Trump has been particularly vocal about these dairy tariffs, calling them unfair and a disgrace. He argues that they're hurting American dairy farmers and preventing them from selling their products in Canada. It's like complaining that your neighbor's fence is too high, even though you never actually tried to climb over it. But here's the thing, Canada has a limited amount of dairy that it imports tariff-free, and guess what? The US already fills that quota. So even if those tariffs were gone tomorrow, it wouldn't change how much American milk gets sold in Canada. It's like arguing over who gets the last slice of pizza when there's a whole other pizza sitting right there. Section 5 Currency Conundrum, Loonies, Greenbacks, and Trade Headaches. Now, let's add another layer of complexity to this already messy situation, shall we? Because as if tariffs weren't enough, we also have to deal with currency exchange rates. You see, when the value of one country's currency changes relative to another, it can impact the cost of imported and exported goods. For example, let's say the US dollar gets stronger compared to the Canadian dollar. That means American consumers can buy more Canadian goods for the same amount of money. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. It also means that Canadian consumers have to pay more for American goods. It's like a never-ending game of financial tug-of-war. And to make matters worse, these currency fluctuations can happen for a whole bunch of reasons, like changes in interest rates, economic growth, and even political instability. It's enough to make your head spin, especially if you're a business owner trying to navigate this global marketplace. Section 6. Price hike. When tariffs hit your wallet. But let's be honest, folks, the real reason we care about tariffs is because of what they do to our wallets. When tariffs go up, prices go up. It's as simple as that. And nobody likes paying more for stuff. Think about it. Those tariffs on Chinese goods, yeah, they're going to make your next smartphone, TV, or pair of sneakers more expensive. And those dairy tariffs, get ready to shell out more for your cheese, yogurt, and ice cream. And it's not just consumers who feel the pinch. Businesses that rely on imported goods also face higher costs, which they may have to pass on to their customers. It's a vicious cycle that can hurt everyone. Section 7. Economic earthquake, tremors in the global market. But the impact of tariffs goes far beyond just higher prices. These trade wars can have ripple effects throughout the global economy, causing uncertainty, volatility, and even job losses. It's like an economic earthquake, and we're all feeling the tremors. For example, remember those tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum? Well, they led to retaliatory tariffs from Canada on American goods, including ketchup, bourbon, and playing cards. And guess what? Those tariffs hurt businesses and workers on both sides of the border. And then there's the impact on the stock market. Trade wars create uncertainty, and uncertainty makes investors nervous. That nervousness can lead to stock market volatility, which can wipe out savings and damage retirement accounts. It's enough to make you want to bury your money in the backyard. Section 8. The consumer conundrum: knowledge is power and savings. So, what can we, the average Joes and Janes of the world, do about all this tariff madness? Well, for starters, we can stay informed, we can read up on the issue, follow the news, and understand how these trade wars might impact our wallets. Knowledge is power, after all. We can also make our voices heard. We can contact our elected officials and tell them how these tariffs are affecting us. After all, they work for us, right? And if they're not listening, well, there's always the power of the ballot box. And finally, we can be smart consumers. We can look for alternatives to imported goods, support local businesses, and maybe even try to cut back on our spending a bit. Every little bit helps. Section 9. Conclusion. The tariff tango continues. Well, folks, there you have it. A crash course in tariffs and their impact on the world. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But one thing's for sure. As long as countries continue to tango with tariffs, we're all going to feel the heat. So buckle up, buttercups, because this trade war is far from over.